Alright, guys, today we are ranking Devin Townsend albums. Let me check and make sure everything's good in the stream, and then we'll get started. Alright, so I'm just going to go through these with no particular order other than what's provided here, and then rank them. So first we have, what is it called? Accelerated Evolution. Personally, this is not one of my favorite albums, but, and I think that both the Strapping Young Lad self-titled album and this album are about the same for me. So I'd say they go in C tier. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in C tier. And I think this one's a little better, actually, just a little bit better than Strapping Young Lad, the self-titled album. So I'm going to put that in D tier. Alright, next. Addicted. Yeah, just wow. Addicted is like got some awesome tracks, numbered and awake. Two exclamation points to really give you the idea that this is a really awesome album. So let's put this at A tier. Alien, best Strapping Young Lad album. I love pretty much all the songs on it. You know, I love to listen to it, and if I'm listening to it too much, I know that it's gonna reflect in my mental situation. So I think that even though it was created out of a little bit of madness, I think that it's still pretty cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it in S tier. Here's a controversial one. Casualties of Cool. Meh. I mean, I think it's better than Accelerated Evolution. I don't know that many songs off of it. I haven't listened to it that much, but I know that it's better than both Strapping Young Lad, that self-titled album, and Accelerated Evolution. Next, City. Oh boy. City's is the companion to Ocean Machine in terms of the being written around the same time, and it's a really heavy album. Not quite as heavy as Alien or as crazy as Alien, but it's still got that energy that is really good, and I'll put it in A tier behind Addicted. Okay, DevLab, not one of my favorites. I've listened to a little bit of it. I'll be honest, I haven't listened to it that much. But DevLab is a very strange album. It's definitely not meant for many listeners. But I'll guess I'll put it in D tier. Empath. Empath is sort of meh for me. I've listened to it a few times and I just can't really get into it. It's there are good songs on it, don't get me wrong, but I think that a lot of Devin's catalog is better. Okay, so that's going in B tier. Epic Loud. I really enjoyed this album. This is one of my favorites. I'm gonna have to put it in S tier. It's my first album I really listened to. I saw the video for on, and this is kind of weird because I was watching what is it called? Oh man, Framus and Warwick channel because I'm a bass player, and I saw this video of a guitar and I was like, why don't I click on it? Best decision of my life because they were playing the music for um, uh, Grace. So Grace was on that video, and I decided to go look up Grace and fell in love with Devin, and that was the first album that I really listened to. And eventually I listened to the whole thing. I was like, oh, okay, this is how it goes. It took me like a year or two before I decided to listen to the whole thing, because before I was just listening to some of the songs on it. Ghost. Ghost is a really chill album. It's better than Snuggles in a lot of ways. I've listened to a little bit of Snuggles, but I couldn't really get into it. But Ghost is definitely an S tier. Really good. And I guess since I mentioned Snuggles, it's a companion to Puzzle. And Snuggles doesn't really do it for me. It's not half-assed, but it's just not my favorite, so I'm going to put it in C tier. And then the Puzzle. Oh, it's a really good album. There are songs like the Yugas that I really like, or what else? Albert Hall is, it's kind of interesting hearing it. There are other songs that just don't really come straight to mind other than the Yugas. Mother's a good one. But yeah, I'll put that in A tier. And I'm going to put it above City. Alright, next. Infinity. Oh boy. It's sort of like Alien Part 1. But in a lot of ways. Devin talks about how it really impacted his mental state. And he had to take quite a break and go to a mental institution because of this album. So, yeah, he was making a lot of changes, and he was seeing the world in black and white, which is not really a good idea to really think it too black and white. There are a lot of things that are gray. But, yeah, I think that this is a really good album. I'm going to put it in A tier. Key. Oh boy. I'm getting my A tier filled up. So, Key, it's one of my go-to albums. I love listening to A Monday and just looping that. It's just so good. Those chords starting out slow. And I think it's one of the best. So I'm going to put it in S tier. And, okay. Light Work. This is his most recent album. There are songs like Light Worker. And then I think the demo version, personally, I think the demo version of, what's the name of that song? Equinox. The demo version of Equinox is better than the album version, personally. I think it's slower. It takes its time, and the album version seems like a lot of things were redone for no reason. So I'm just gonna put that in B tier. above Empath. It's a good album. I think I'm gonna skip around a bit and go to Deconstruction. Deconstruction is one of the better ones, but it can put some people off with some of the things that goes on in it. There's a part where he urinates. There's also a part where he ejaculates or whatever, and it's just kind of strange. So I'm gonna discount that much from it, but the Might Masturbator is a very you know, it's fun to listen to, but for other people just getting into Devin, this is not something I would recommend. So I'm gonna put that into, oh man, I guess A tier, above City, but not above the Puzzle. The Hummer. Let's just skip to that. I've tried listening to it, and I haven't been able to get into it, but it's basically a really good. It's a good album, but not my thing. Okay, so I'm just gonna put it in D tier, above Dev Lab and Strapping Young Lad. Next, Tests of Manhood. Okay. I've only listened to this like once, and I think it was okay, you know. There were some good songs on there, but I don't really remember much of it. So since I don't remember it that much, I'll put it in C tier, you know. Maybe I'll come back and remake this list and I'll put it in a better tier. Night Work had some interesting demos, but I need to listen to it more. So I'm just gonna put it alongside Night Work alongside Light Work. Okay, Physicist. Wow, what an album. The audio quality is kind of terrible, but I think that there's some good material on it. Devin would rate this as his lowest album, but I think it does pretty well. I'm going to put it, surprisingly, I think I'll put it above City. I think it's a really good album. Yeah. So, I'm going to put City in B tier, actually. I'm just going to move it, because it's not the favorite, but it's pretty good. Ocean Machine. I'm finally getting around to that. It's definitely one of my favorites. Every song's a banger except for Regulator. Regulator just goes on and on and on. Like, what is this? You know, it's kind of dumb, and the keyboards are kind of stupid. But Punky Brewster. I've only listened to this album through once, and Larry Zoe is the one I keep returning to on this album. The very last song, and I think it's a really good one. I think that Punky Brewster is a very comedic album, sort of like Ziltoid before Ziltoid, but you know, I would need to listen to it more, so I'm just gonna put it in B tier for now. Keep it balanced. Sex and Religion. Oh boy, what an album. I've listened to it about twice or 3 times now, and yeah, it's alright. It's an alright album for Dev. It's his like first real outing as a singer. So I thought it was okay, but I'm gonna rate it as a um, C tier, and I'm gonna put it, no, not a D tier, C tier, right there. Syncastra. Syncastra is one of my favorites. Um, if I, it's another one that I just put on just to listen to, so it has to go into A tier. I love going from like Mental Tan all the way down the album till the very last song. And I believe that Sunshine and Happiness does not need to be on the album to make it complete. So um, I like um, I kind of like just going through until um, uh, Notes from Africa. So it's a really nice album. Terria. Ooh. You know what? I'm gonna have to put it in A tier. I listen to it quite a bit, but there are some times when it just drops off for me. I'm gonna have to put it like right here. Um, Strapping a Lad, The New Black. Oh man. You know, I've only listened through this like once or twice, and you know, I thought it was decent, but you know, not nearly as good as Alien um or as some of the other stuff. Um, oh, there it is. So I'm gonna put this in B tier. I think it's pretty good. There's not a lot of duds with Devin. Um, just looking at this list right now. If there's anything that I could call a dud, um, Holding Patterns, I wouldn't necessarily call it a dud. It's just kind of C tier. Well, I listened to a few of the songs on it, and I think it's just kind of boring. Um, Not my thing. Strapping the Lad, Heavy is a really heavy thing. What an album. I'm gonna put it right above Physicist. Uh, it takes a little while to get into it, but you know, Satan's ice cream truck at the end is really funny. I really enjoy that. Um, I don't know what this is. Ghost 2. Um, yeah, I haven't listened to Ghost 2. So that's the only one I don't know. But so I'll just leave it down here. Um, Dark Matters. It's pretty heavy. I'll put it in A tier. Actually, I'll put it in B tier. I think it's a pretty good album. Let's put Ziltoid in A tier, and let's put it. I love the program drums in this. It's actually pretty good drums. I don't mind it as much. Transcendence. Whatever. I'll put it here. Yeah, it's got some decent songs. I love Offer Your Light, as well as Stormbender, Stormbending, something like that. It's a pretty good album. Z2, I don't know why that's there, because Ziltoid 2 as a whole, it's okay. I think that I need to rank Sky Blue in here. Sky Blue, I think, is better than Ziltoid. Dark Matters. And it is a really good album. Z2 as a whole probably goes in A tier, behind Physicist. As the demos, part 1, or is it part 2? I don't remember. These are pretty interesting. I have a playlist, music playlist. I put that in there, and I listen to it sometimes. But you know, it's okay. Where I'll put it? I'll put it below City. Contain Us. I love Contain Us. I think it's one of the best. I'll put it in. I love Juno and those songs. Songs like it, and Catwalk is pretty nice for a rework of Fucker. So it's a pretty cool album. I'll also put in Epic Louder. I think that Epic Louder is a decent album on its own right. So I put it, it's not really too cohesive, but I think it deserves a spot in A tier. And Ghost 2, don't know about that. Are we missing any? I always feel like there's a missing Devin album out of these, but don't know what it would be. So that's my tier list. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe, and hit the bell if you could. Really appreciate that. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.